Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. NFL Insider provides latest Steelers Aaron Rodgers update, report. NFL insider Mike Florio wrote it's a safe bet that quarterback Aaron Rodgers will eventually sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers continue to wait for quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio sees all the waiting eventually paying off. Florio reported on March 23 it's a safe bet that Rodgers eventually will sign a contract to join the Steelers. Florio added his source was in the general vicinity of those who would be in position to know what Rodgers plans to do. We know. Nobody ever knows what Rodgers plans to do. He speaks to only a small handful of people. And those to whom he speaks refrain from flapping their yaps, for fear of being exiled to the island, wrote Florio. But it's human nature to talk. Everyone tells one person something they weren't supposed to tell anyone, with the understanding that the person they tell won't tell anyone. And so on, and so on. And so on. Rodgers visited the Steelers at their team facility on March 21. The Steelers found Rodgers' visit so important that the team's brass missed the Michigan Pro Day to host Rodgers. The quarterback left the meeting without signing a contract. But league insiders don't see that as an indication that he won't be joining the Steelers. The signs are pointing to Rodgers landing in Pittsburgh for 2025, Florio wrote. Could it change? Yes. Again, it's a safe bet it won't. Multiple indications from the March 21 meeting between the Steelers and Rodgers are that money and contract length were not really discussed. Instead, Steelers on SI's Connor Hutchison reported the two sides discussed a possible fit and used the meeting as a getting to know one another. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported the visit lasted 6 hours and indicated it was positive. Schefter added that the two sides plan to stay in touch. The Steelers are not only likely the best landing spot for Rodgers but perhaps the only possibility at the moment. The Minnesota Vikings and New York Giants made indications over the past week that they are moving in different directions. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported on March 19 the Vikings are not going to sign Rodgers this spring. Then on March 21, the Giants signed veteran quarterback Jameis Winston. The Steelers added veteran Mason Rudolph this offseason. But it's rather clear the Steelers would prefer Rudolph serve as a backup in 2025. Florio admitted multiple times to not know when Rodgers will make his 2025 choice public. But the NFL insider hinted that it could be on April 9. It remains to be seen when the announcement will be made. If only there were an event coming up next month in Pittsburgh featuring the guy whose show Rodgers appears on every Tuesday during football season, wrote Florio. Oh, wait. There is. On April 9, ESPN's Pat McAfee, who is a Pittsburgh native, is hosting a comedy event called Big Night Out with Pat McAfee and friends at PPG Paints Arena. Rodgers makes regular guest appearances on ESPN's The Pat McAfee Show. For that reason, it wouldn't be surprising if Rodgers announced his 2025 plans on the show. If Rodgers is set on joining the Steelers, revealing that plan during a public event in Pittsburgh with McAfee makes a lot of sense. Pittsburgh Steelers linked a suitor for surprising QB option. The Pittsburgh Steelers are currently viewed as the frontrunners to sign free agent quarterback and future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. While Rodgers would be their ideal scenario, the Steelers should have a quality plan B in case he chooses to retire or sign elsewhere. Even if they do land Rodgers, Pittsburgh would need a long-term option after he retires. Keeping that in mind, the Steelers could try to find that player in the 2025 NFL Draft. Or, they could explore the trade market. Pittsburgh is being linked to an intriguing and surprising quarterback option with the draft just over a month away. Over the last month, rumors have continued growing that the New England Patriots could trade young backup quarterback Joe Milton III. Following the Patriots' move to sign Joshua Dobbs in free agency, those rumors seem likely to become a reality. Tyler Sullivan of CBS Sports took a look at logical destinations for Milton if he is indeed traded. He had the Steelers as one of the teams who could make a move for the 25-year-old signal caller. Even if they added another veteran to the room, Milton could be a low-risk acquisition to come in and compete for the starting job over the summer, Sullivan wrote. Given his ability to throw the football a country mile, he'd be fascinating to see with DK Metcalf and George Pickens at his disposal. Milton played in just one game during his rookie season in New England. That game came in the regular season finale where he led the Patriots to a 23-16 win over the Buffalo Bills. In that game, Milton completed 22 of his 29 pass attempts for 241 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He also picked up 16 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Pittsburgh Steelers named top landing spot for hard-nosed Chargers running back. After letting running back Najee Harris walk and head to the Los Angeles Chargers, the Pittsburgh Steelers could use a running back. They signed Kenneth Gainwell to give them depth, yet with no true workhorse in the backfield, could the team still look to free agency? ESPN's Bill Barnwell sees the Steelers as an ideal landing spot for Chargers free agent running back J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins' death with a knee injury that cost him time in 2024, but when he did play, Dobbins played at a high level. Since 2020, the list of backs with 300 carries who have averaged more yards per rush than Dobbins' 5.2 consists of Devon Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs. After returning from the Achilles injury last season, Dobbins averaged 4.6 yards per tote while racking up a career-high 195 carries, Barnwell wrote. He didn't fumble for the third consecutive season and generated 115 rush yards over expectation, which ranked 13th among all backs. Dobbins had a blazing fast start to the 2024 season with over 200 yards of rushing in those first two games. However, following that, his stats mirrored Harris's almost perfectly. Still, he is a workhorse and that could be appealing to Mike Tomlin. At the same time, Dobbins' best two games of the season were the initial two, during which he racked up 266 yards. From that point forward, he failed to top 100 yards in a single game, averaged 3.8 yards per carry, and generated -25 RYOE. Most of that was an absence of big plays. He had 3 runs of 40-plus yards over those first two games and none over the ensuing 16 weeks. Dobbins remains a free agent with giant medical questions over his career. He has suffered multiple severe injuries, including a multi-ligament knee injury and a torn Achilles. That has sapped some of his explosiveness that he once had when he was coming out of Ohio State, but Dobbins proved last year he has quality play in his game left. And you fan? What do you think about J.K. Dobbins' situation? Write to us in the comments.